You want something to eat?
Oh,
Come on.
I didn't know.
Here we go. That's for you.
It's lunchtime for Danny O'Donnell and her son Shane.
Yeah. Here you go.
That 70s background playlist? They're Danny's favourites. All day, every day. They're her comfort food.
Nice. You like that?
Danny has mate wari or dementia, and Shane is her full-time carer. Danny's lived with mate wari for around 15 years. Shane moved back to the family home not long after his father became unwell. Once his dad passed, Shane stayed on to care for his mum.
We recognised that she was repeating herself a lot. You know, we'd be sitting there having a conversation and then she would say, oh, how long did it take you to get here? And then 2 or 3 minutes later, she would repeat the same question again. So, you know, those sort of things you just sort of pick up on.
Shane also runs a business from home, which allows him to care for his mum as well.
Danny.
Yes.
Here you go.
It's 24/7.
Yeah, have a drink.
With little time to himself.
I wanted to focus on the harapapa.
Staying on the towel over here.
A carer comes twice a day to wash Danny.
Just gonna shut the door.
But everything else, he does on his own.
I was lucky enough to be able to give up full-time work to look after mum. I guess really the big thing is just mentally being prepared to look after her day in and day out, because it is a 7-day-a-week job and pretty much 24 hours a day.
Yeah, what was the alternative?
Home, you know, and no one likes to put their loved ones into a home, and I certainly didn't want to do that.
Danny's not the only one in her whānau to get mate wari. Her mother, auntie, and older sister all had it. Now, her younger sister has it too.
You know, the good thing with this team, even though they are world famous, they come.
Her brother, John Paitai, is the only sibling living without dementia. He knows firsthand how caring for a mother with mate wari can be.
We found out what service we could access and then rostered ourselves around that so that we filled the gaps.
What was that service?
Oh, well, the home aid, you know, they'd come in and clean her house because I left her in her own home. In fact, I promised her she wouldn't go in a home. And that was the one thing that she treasured the most, is just her own independence. For my older sister, well, that wasn't an option because she was living in Auckland and she went straight into a home because I didn't realise how advanced her dementia was.
John's story was typical of those told at a recent conference in Awanui near Kaitaia.
Mate wari is very much related to healthy living and health conditions.
The key speaker was Dr. Makarena Dudley, a senior lecturer of psychology at the University of Auckland.
Unfortunately, in Māori, we have found that mate wari is present around 8 years younger than non-Māori.
She's also co-director for the university's Centre for Brain Research.
A lot of Māori we are looking at being diagnosed around mid-50s.
She began her research into mate wari 10 years ago.
Look at the brain. And
now, she's leading the first ever study to establish how many Māori are living with the condition.
What's central to understanding any condition is knowing the prevalence of it or the extent that it exists out there in the community. So we applied for funding to conduct a prevalence study. We will be the first Indigenous people in the world to conduct a prevalence study on mate wari, so we're very proud of that. But what we want to do is to get the data, to get the information, to find out how many people are out there with mate wari, what are some of the burdens that are associated with that condition, and with that information we want to inform policy, we want to inform government. We can't just rock up to government and say, oh, you know, Māori suffer more. We've got to have evidence. That's what they want.
The experiences of people like Shane, Danny and John will be essential to the study. What information was available to you as a whānau in terms of, how you were going to manage this condition?
The other leaflets and the Dementia Society, you can look at their website and get information. Hey, cup of tea?
Yes, thank you.
There was help from the DHB where they could send somebody out to have a chat to you, and they did. There you go, Danny. I mean, they were helpful, but it wasn't anything, that we weren't already doing with Mum. Good. Yeah, it was sort of self-learning in a lot of ways.
It's just not right. It's not right in terms of the government's commitment to Te Tiriti o Waitangi for equal health outcomes for Māori. There are huge gaps there in terms of, the funding for Māori and Māori whānau who are living with mate wareware.
The study will begin shortly in Kaitaia and Ahipara, where Macarena and her team hope to interview 110 kaumātua plus a whānau member. What's already emerged in her research is the difference between Pākehā and Māori attitudes.
What came across quite clearly was that Māori were not so afraid of the condition of mate wareware. And I think that Māori embrace, members of their whānau who are unwell. Māori take it on board. We just deal with it. We don't shun them. We don't catastrophise the situation. We just adapt the situation. It just means things have changed and the whānau, come in and adapt and take care of the person who's unwell.
My older sister, she can ask me the same question 10,000 times. I don't get hoha with her, I just tell her the same answer and she goes, oh, like she's just heard it for the first time.
Macarena says some kaumātua thought of mate wareware as a spiritual journey, that it was a place of tapu, where the person with mate wareware can connect with their tupuna on the other side.
There were a number of kaumātua who spoke about that perspective of mate wareware, and it's really nice to know that it's not all bad news, that it's not all doom and gloom. In fact, it's a place where we should be honouring those people.
She'll be talking to like we're talking now, and then all of a sudden she'll see somebody on the tree out there. And she said, can you see him? And I said, yeah, I can see him. What's he saying? And then she'll tell you what he's saying.
In the very early stage, when a person first shows the early signs of Alzheimer's, dementia, mate wareware, there are things you can do.
Sir Richard Fall is Aotearoa's preeminent neuroscientist. He's also supporting Macarena with her prevalence study.
Listening to the people today, they bring up perspectives which we don't appreciate, or personal things, and so that will change us, So this is why we are not doing this in the university. We're leaving the university and saying, well, we want to help the people of Aotearoa New Zealand. Go and talk to Aotearoa New Zealand where they are.
Macarena believes Māori already are culturally equipped to meet their own health needs.
I've learned that often the Western medical model does not work for Māori. Every day almost I become more convinced that our health and our well-being, whether it be brain health or any other aspect of Māori health, lies within our own knowledge base. I think Western ways were introduced to us that made us unwell. So there is
Later this year, Macarena will also present her research into mate wareware to the Waitangi Tribunal.
All right, Danny, here. Come here, give me a hand.
At home in Tāmaki Makaurau, Shane says it's important for whānau caring for a loved one with mate wareware to talk to others who might be going through the same.
You learn a lot from talking to, other people that are going through what you could be going through in the next few years. So, yeah, look, it's difficult. Look, all I can say is there is help out there, but you need to really find it. It's not going to come knocking on your door. They're not going to say, yep, we're here to show you what to do, And, most doctors these days know what groups you can sign up for or look into.